Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome back to another episode of To Be Determined. My name's Alex. I go by Arcade Island when I make the music, and today I'm going to show you how I make the music. I just put out an album called Dreaming in the Void. It rocks, I think. I hope you enjoy it if you've listened to it. If not, you should do that first, or maybe not. I don't know. This is a series that I'm doing where I'm going through every song on the record, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to peel back the skin, the curtain, and show you how I made it, show you how it came to life. That is an extremely loud HVAC. Last week, I took us on a journey through Leviathan, but today, we're going to talk about Savanna Moon. Savanna Moon is the first song on the record. It's the shortest song on the record. I wouldn't call it an introduction. I feel like that robs it of its own identity. But calling it a full song is not necessarily true either. This song, along with Common Ancestor, the last song on the record, are sort of brother and sister. Both songs are effectively speaking to an ancestor of mine or ours 100 or 200,000 years ago, wondering if the existential crises that I go through on a daily basis, and I feel that a number of people probably do as well. Who are we? Why am I here? What happens when we die? Why am I made of blood? I wonder if somebody just fighting for their survival with no education, no real knowledge of the generations that came before them, and only knowing their little corner of the savannah in Eastern Africa, looking up at the stars at night, if they sat around and they wondered these things, if it gave them anxiety, or if they just were too busy running away from saber-toothed cats. I look up at the same exact moon that they did, having the exact same thoughts, potentially. That seemed really trippy to me. It's something that I think about a lot. I wanted a song that was very cinematic and sparse and spooky, imagining a group of human beings raising their arms to the sky as the moon rises over a lawless wasteland, and let's go. I remember watching the Dune Part 2 trailer. There was a certain sort of body and cadence to the way that the music in this particular trailer sounded. I remember just kind of wanting something that sounded like that, and I stumbled around forever, and then till one night I was messing around with some MIDI strings, and I came across this. And paired with these chords underneath of it, it just sounded like a wanderer in the desert, very lonely and sparse. I originally did everything on MIDI strings. So for those who are unaware, MIDI, musical instrument digital interface, you have a keyboard and you play a synthesizer or a sample patch inside the DAW. These are the contact session strings. They sound pretty good. But not the real thing. And so I wrote all of the parts here on MIDI strings. And then when the record was done, went through a session musician hiring service, and I found Savanna, consisting of 2 string players, Jess Townsend, who did all of the violin and viola, and Tom McCluskey, who did all of the cello and double bass. Then they sent all of the strings back to me as individual recordings, like so. The strings really carry everything. All of these strings are going through a bus called strings. Here we go. Those 7th, chords. It sounds almost like a moonlit waltz. Like the Rite of Spring or something like that. And it's just two chords that oscillate back and forth. That's, again, most of the song. Now, I augmented the strings in a few ways. When there's that drop there, when I say, "Mother, will you name the earth? It will come in time," I kept some of the original MIDI strings really low and blended them in, just to make the orchestral sound seem bigger. And on top of most of these chords, I just have a simple keyboard here called Keith Strings. Thank you, Keith. And when you put all of that together, especially in this chorus, if you will, and then to give it a little bit more oomph, we have this sub bass. And that gives it just a lot more low end. Then we have my vocals. Vocals here. This is pretty much a standard stack that I've been doing on every single song. Again, Melodyne. There's a gate. There's some saturation. There's an EQ. There's vocal rider, compressor, de-esser to that gets rid of all the like this really sharp sounds, and then a little bit of chorus. Moonlight glows in carbon eyes, molded form beneath the sky. Father, wield the blade and burn. Mother. And then in the drop, I've doubled the vocal, so I sang it twice. So one on top in the center, and then one just below it, a little bit lower in volume. It will come in time. Spill your blood for mine. And then underneath that, we have some harmonies. It will come in time. Just me in falsetto because I can't sing that high. And then we put them together. It will come in time. And then there's just some other little production tricks here. So I have these harmonies, these ahs that swell right when the "It Will Come in Time" comes in. That you struggle to hear in the context of the song, as well as back here. You might be able to pick this up when you listen to it. Beneath the same Savanna moon, have I failed to honor you? It's a little dissonant, actually. When I say "Mother, will you name the earth," I took the delay. I've done this on another song. I did this on Leviathan, and I bounced it to another track, and then I threw some tremolo and some saturation distortion on that, as well as just kind of shaped it in the song. That adds some depth to that earth. Name the earth, it will come in time. So we have some drums here. This is just MIDI. And then this gong sound effect that I found. Who doesn't love a gong? There's these sort of wooden sounding drums. And then there's just two sound effects here. And then at the very start, we have this thunder sound effect with a ton of reverb on it, making it really spacey. I wanted to sound like a storm in the African savanna, just rumbling off the landscape. And then there's this thing that I call Dino. To make it, all I did was take this pad sound, set it to mono, so it's just playing one note at one time. That's all I can play. And then I set the glide factor. This determines how much time it takes when you play a second note in a sequence for the note to catch up. So if it's really short, it just goes doo-doo. If it's really long, it goes doo. And there's a little bit of that in the drop too. And then, of course, jungle adventure, small birds chirp, distant wildlife cacophony. So the end of the song, it was really important for it to transition into Leviathan. And so there's a couple things I did to make that happen. One, I made sure that these strings play out. On my vocal harmonies, I did some really dissonant notes. I just automated the volume on them. This key here that just kind of rises. And then, most importantly, the violin melody from Leviathan, I copied and pasted in here and then just gradually sped it up. There's just these two sound effects I made in my Korg mini log. When Steve Kilpatrick, who mastered the record, sequenced everything, we just had to time it so that the first hit of Leviathan hits right when this ends. Pretty simple, but honestly, one of my favorite songs on the record. I think it's just a huge tone setter. I love the transition into Leviathan. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. Listen to my album, please, and I'll see you on the next one.